Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. It is July 12th, it's the Monday, and it's about 1:45 in the afternoon. So we are at the corner of Belmont Street and Yonge. So I just walked down here from home, and we are going to be walking through some of the streets of Yorkville. My last video was... Sorry, the camera just cut out on me. My last video was a perimeter walk of Yorkville, and by chance I came across a art exhibit, art for sale, and we did a little walk around there in that gallery. So I thought I would just take you through some of the Yorkville streets. Look how lovely. These, I think, are called row houses, but they're in a very expensive community in Toronto, being Yorkville. So I'm sure they're quite pricey and quite beautiful inside. How lovely. Historic building, or Heritage Building, Toronto Historical Board. Yeah, so these aren't coming down, but they are, I'm sure, very well taken care of and quite beautiful. I haven't been down this particular street in a very long time. If I ever head down this neighborhood, it's usually to do errands, and here it's primarily residential. Hope everybody had a good weekend, having a good Monday. I think it was either 21 or 23 when I left home, and it is a bit humid and a bit overcast. I do like the overcast component, less like the humidity component. Look at how beautiful. Oh my goodness, these homes are so pretty. So we just finished watching the last season of Bosch. I think it's either on Netflix or Amazon, I can't remember. I like the, the crime. It's not a true crime, but, it's a crime series. I think there was like 8 or 10 episodes. And it focuses around like a lead homicide detective. And the cases that he comes across. And I do like both my husband and I we like the series, but I don't really like I'm not sure if it's the character, the main character, or if it's the actor that I'm not really that fond of. I know the character is supposed to be sort of like a tough guy, macho kind of guy, doesn't show any emotion, that kind of guy. Like, I get that. Not necessarily the best way to display a guy, but I want to cross the street, so I'm going to go back to these lights and cross to the west side. So, yes, I'm not sure if it's the character. Not that I don't like the character. I don't think I like his demeanor, or what am I trying to say? Or if it's the actor, maybe I don't like his acting. But yeah, it's kind of too macho-ish for my liking. But anyhow, the storyline was good. That's the part that I think equally as important. And I was a little bit disappointed in the last episode. I'm not going to tell you about it because I don't want to give it away, but you know, I think it's hard for like movies and series, particularly series, to have like a really good, you know, final episode, or you know, a series seasonal episode. I think it's a hard thing to do successfully and be able to please everybody. I'm sure that there are some people who really liked the ending, and that's great. I just was not one of them. Let's see where this street goes. It says no U-turn. Oh, so that must be a dead-end street, but let's just peek down here anyway. So here's a EMS station. I don't think I've ever been down this particular part of the street. It's called New Street. Maybe because I haven't been down here, it's because it's a dead end. Yeah, I think so. I wonder if we can cut through. No, this is all pretty residential. Sometimes there's little alleyways and stuff you can cut through, but not here. No. Okay, we're gonna go back to Davenport and walk south on Davenport and get to some of the side streets. So I mentioned in my last video some of the streets, or I guess particular areas in Yorkville, have, you know, changed since I first came here, which is to be expected, right? I mean, a lot happens in 30 years. But I know, I just want to point out some spots that were familiar to me and places that I went to that are no longer. So we walked this part in my last video. This was part of the perimeter walk, but we are going to veer off shortly and get onto a side street. The main streets, at least that are known, popular known streets in Yorkville, is I think there's Hazelton Avenue, I think that's what it's called, and there's Cumberland and Yorkville. I think those three streets or avenues or roads are synonymous with Yorkville. If you mention one of those street names, most Torontonians will know exactly what community you're referring to.
She could have just done all this in Toronto. Yeah.
So I didn't really dress very well today. I mean, I have shorts on and that's perfect for today, but I'm wearing like a long-sleeved hoodie. I don't know why I put that on. I had it on initially in the morning because it's cool, but I never thought to take it off and change. Oh well. I expect to get a little bit hot on a summer's day. Okay. The Village of Yorkville. here. Looks like a little parkette. Let's see what the name of this is. Yeah, it's like a little parkette. Oh no, it's a park. It's just teeny tiny. But there's about 4 benches here. Probably a really good place to cool off because it has a lot of trees behind it that look like would make a good umbrella. Sun umbrella. Now, I don't remember what was here. Clearly there was something here. I just don't remember what it was. And I'm not sure what they're building here. So we won't go down Schollard. Not today, at least. There's not really much to see. Mostly residential, and the street lights are not operational. I wonder why. So this is the new Four Seasons Hotel. I say new, it's been here for a while. Probably maybe around 10 years or so. I don't remember what used to be here. But I remember the old Four Seasons Hotel. And I remember, since I've lived here, it went through, not the hotel itself, but there was the lounge. I can't remember what it was called, and they had a couple of restaurants on the 2nd floor, I think, but there was like a lounge on the main floor that was really popular and super busy all the time. And when I first came here, okay, we're on Yorkville Avenue. Let's stroll west down Yorkville Avenue. Look how beautiful this is. Wow. What a healthy plant. But that lounge at the Four Seasons Hotel, I think it's the end of this block, or no, I think it's one block east. Anyway, so that lounge was, it had like velvet furniture. Now, velvet is kind of in now, but 30 years ago, it was not in. And it was a really old school looking, like a smoking, you could smoke back then, and I did smoke back then. And it had, like, you know, the velvet, I think on one of the walls it had velvet wallpaper and to match the velvet furniture. The velvet furniture was red, and I think the wallpaper either complemented it or was an exact match as far as the color red. But I remember velvet wallpaper because my mom and dad put the velvet wallpaper in their house, and that was a real deal. My mom thought it was so cool, so fancy. Now I'm just trying to recall. Yeah, these buildings existed, so there's nothing really new here. And back down in there, that was I think a French restaurant down there. I've been in that restaurant, but I can't remember what it was called. I'm pretty sure it was a French restaurant though. And let's cross the street here. Now the Louboutin, the Christian Louboutin store, before it became a Christian Louboutin store, it was, I think, like a pottery store or flatware, or what was it? I think it was like a dishes or pottery. And in here, now it's the Sofia Restaurant. It's nice in here. It's really nice in here. We were here once before, just before the pandemic shut. Well, I guess that, yeah, I think the year before the pandemic. But I don't remember what used to be here before the restaurant came in place. All kinds of cute shops. And I remember coming here and thinking, wow, it's so cool down here. And it is, of course it is. You know, I couldn't afford anything back in those days. Now, Chanel, what used to be here was an old, I think, it was a white building, I think, and it was a standalone structure for the longest time. And it wasn't occupied. It was just sort of boarded up. And then it changed to Tetro, I think that's the name of it. It's like a housewares, fancy housewares store. And then Tetro, I think it's called Tetro. They moved into Hazelton Lanes. And now, whether this brick building is the original building that stood here, I think maybe it was white brick, or whether it was totally torn down and rebuilt, I'm not sure, because now there are condos above it. But for the longest time, this was unoccupied. And I think Chanel stepped in here maybe 2-3 years ago. And this is the new front, because that wasn't there before. I remember there were independent shops there, and there was actually a cute little restaurant, like more like a cafe type of thing, before cafes were a thing, where you took steps down. You had to walk down, and so you sat sort of below street level, but you could, you know, see people's feet walk by. I remember sitting there once. And here, this was always a busy spot. Right on this side, like there was a store. It still exists. It just moved from this location. It used to be right up here, right up these stairs, called Over the Rainbow. And they're now in the Manulife Center, I think. Yeah. Yeah, it used to be, this is where you would enter. And for those of you who remember the actor, I think his name is Robert Ulrich. I remember seeing him come out of the store as I was walking by, and my heart stopped. He was the lead actor in a TV series called Vegas. And here, it was either this location right here where it says there's a gallery, but I have a feeling not. I think just right here. Right here, yeah, I think this red brick building right here. This used to be, maybe it still is, but it used to be like, not a pub, like a restaurant. And it had a downstairs. And I remember going to, you know, just there was a bunch of us, and we went downstairs and had a big, huge table. There's probably like 10 or 12 people. And there was live music. And I remember coming here a few times. I think it was called Charlie's. So this, we're talking 30 some years ago. And here across the street is I think it's the Hazelton Hotel, but anyhow, the restaurant right here across the street is called, I think, One, or The One, if I'm not mistaken. But before the Hazelton Hotel was here, there was all these little independent shops, and the storefronts looked like the old Yorkville. I can't point that out to you because I can't show it to you. I don't see anything right around here that's familiar, but I remember they were maybe just 2 or 3 stories. They were beautiful old buildings that were attached, sort of like row housing almost. And there used to be an international news store here, so you get all kinds of magazines from different parts of the world and different newspapers. I remember picking up the New York Times here once upon a time. And so now, as you can see, it's the hotel, and I think there's some private residences up above. Very fancy, very nice, very nice. So everybody's out and about, enjoying a meal or a drink outside. It's perfect weather, not too hot. And this cheapo restaurant, it used to be pumpernickels back in the day. Let's slip through here. So there's a store that we're coming upon. It's called BH&Co. Betty Hemmings. And Betty Hemmings is a really nice leather goods store for bags and briefcases. And this is where I got, this is where I purchased my very first briefcase. But they were located right on Bloor Street. And I think they moved from Bloor Street to this location where you can see here is under interior construction. And then they moved over here. And here is the Aloe Bar. It used to be called Cream, I think, before it was the Aloe Bar. Could be mistaken. But I think when it was when it was under a different name, I remember coming here with my mother-in-law for lunch, I think. Anyhow, Aloe Bar, I think, is pretty popular in Toronto. It's pretty bougie, pricey. I think this is called Old York Lane that we're walking down. No, it's not. Old York Lane is just a bit north, so we'll walk down that. If I remember, but I just want to walk down this street. Now this might be Cumberland. I always get Cumberland and Yorkville Avenues mixed up. Oh, we are on Yorkville Avenue. I just see an address. So Yorkville Avenue. So remember I was mentioning just previously about before the Hazelton Hotel, if that's what it's called, before it existed, the buildings that used to occupy that space looked like these buildings. Oops. But they were the red brick. They weren't painted white. And here, this building has always been here, but the main floor or the street entrance shops were different. I don't know what they were. I just want to show you this building here. So it's a parking lot, but you can see it's an original. So it's probably, gee, it hasn't been changed, so it hasn't changed in the last 30 years. And it's similar to other, wow, look at this beautiful colored pigeon. Wow, what a gorgeous color. Beautiful, gorgeous. Oops, sorry. Every time I try and angle my camera, it goes wonky on me. Yes, that looks like almost Art Deco-ish, but it couldn't be that old. It's probably more 50s, maybe 60s, the architecture. Now, Hemingway's has been here, I think, as long as I've been here. It's a staple. Let's walk down Yorkville Lane. What's it called? Old York Lane. Now, here it says there's a new shop opening up, La Canadienne. What used to be here was the Kate Spade store, but before that, I can't remember. There's a restaurant. I think there was always a restaurant there as well. I'm not sure if the name is the same. And right out here they have outdoor dining right behind. At least they used to. Here they do for sure. And we're going to actually turn around and walk back to Yorkville Avenue. I'm trying to angle the camera so you don't get the same view both ways. Okay, we're doing an about face. Here we go. There we go. I just wanted to show you this laneway. And this is a restaurant called Kazamoto. And it used to be called something else. It started with an R. I think it was started with an R. I can't remember what it was. But I remember sitting out here. This outdoor dining. And I remember also dining inside. Like a long time ago. We rarely come down to Yorkville to dine out. When we do, we try and support our local restaurants in our neighborhood. Okay. I think this is where Bart Leather used to be once upon a time at this location. It was, I think they custom made leather coats and stuff. This structure has always been here, but this used to be called something else. It was called something accessories, I think, and they had the coolest accessories. And it was the only place that I could also buy the pantyhose that I liked. Believe it or not. 30 years ago, I used to wear pantyhose almost every day. Oh man, I'm so glad that's over. here? Oops. I remember to buy really cool birthday cards and really pretty wrapping paper. I used to come here to the papery. And it's still here. It's nice to see it's still here. That goes into, I don't know what that goes into. There's just shops in there, but I don't recognize that. I don't think I've ever walked that entrance. Now, before this rock park existed, I call it a rock park because there's a big rock structure at the end. But I remember this was a parking lot for the longest time. The longest time it was just a parking lot. And then I remember one summer, probably like the summer of 90 or 91, a friend and I came down here because they were doing, they put on like a polo match, like with horses, and oh my God. Something I would never watch today, but I did then. Poor horses, oh jeez. And they would turn on a dime, those horses. Oh, and having to carry those bodies on top of them, and anyhow, I'm not going to get into all of that. But you can see how pretty it is. Some green space, lots of places to sit, lots of beautiful pigeons. Now these have all remained the same as far as this architectural structure, but of course the shops have all changed. Well, I don't know if they've all changed, but many of them are new. They're unfamiliar to me. But that's what happens, right? Things change. This restaurant has always been here. I think it was always called Sassafrans. I could be wrong, but it's a kind of a neat location. You can sit outside or even sit inside and watch all the people, do a lot of people watching. Now, right here on the corner where it says 1240 Bay Street, right below that convenience store, there's a door that leads downstairs where it says City Commercial. And I may have mentioned this in previous videos, but I remember I came here to visit a couple of times before I actually moved to Toronto. And the first time I think I came was 83 or 84. And we went, because that's, you know, disco was still, I don't know about disco, but nightclubs were still kind of a thing, like disco type nightclubs. And I remember coming down to Yorkville and going in downstairs in that spot at 97 Cumberland and dancing the night away. I loved disco, and I just may have lost some subscribers. Please don't run away. Disco, I think, is wonderful. My husband does not like disco music at all. Not at all. But it's like the best music to dance to. Love it. Love it. Staying alive, staying alive. With John Travolta and Saturday Night Fever. Yeah, I love John Travolta, and I had a big poster of him in my bedroom. That movie came out, I think it came out in 77, 78, something like that. And disco was very short-lived, only a few years. So the good thing was, I was at the right age. I was old enough to, you know, go into a place that served alcohol and I was old enough to, you know, get into that whole scene, and oh, we just had a blast. Just the best time. Now, this used to once upon a time, I think, be a, oh, what was it? I think it was a vintage furniture, I think, a long, long time ago. And then it was a clothing store. Canadian designer. I can't remember now. No, not Tartan. Was it Tartan? Pink Tartan. That's it. Pink Tartan. Sandpipers, bathing suits, and summer wear. They've got some nice things in there. Yeah, and so now it looks like that corner spot that used to be, I think, once a vintage furniture store, then I think it was a gallery maybe, and then it was Pink Tartan clothing store. Now it looks like it's up for grabs. Okay, so we've been here. So I think that will do us for today, folks. We will do other parts of Yorkville at another time because there's other places to look at. But I want to thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you have a great rest of the day. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already. And smash that like box. And leave a comment below. I look forward to hearing from you. And I certainly look forward to you joining me again. This is Boomer Girl Walking, signing off.